Yeah, hi. I just realized I was muted. It literally was just saying, I'm a little out of sorts. I need a minute to take a breath. And, it's been wild. I've been running these YouTube streets. There was a whole bunch of stuff going on by my house. Some guy was running around with a machete last night, and the cops had to take him down. And then at 3 in the morning, the cops were chasing some other dude. And I'm in townhouses, so it's like there's there's like four and then like six, like little rows of us all over, right? And in mine we're four, and I'm the farthest from the street corner. Some dude almost went through my neighbor's living room. It's wild. We need barriers. And then I'm running these YouTube streets. It's wild. If you know, you know. I will maybe talk about it. I got to start streaming more. Holy shit, you guys. So let me start over. I see Hecate, I know, is the first one in here. We've got Ham and Beans, my dearest Hammy. Sarah K, how you doing, girl? Irma Gerd, shaking but not stirred. Cat readings. Kelly Jean, how you doing, hun? Who else did I see? Illyria, hi, sweetie. Good to see you. Thanks for coming in. Whew. Well, if when you don't realize the type of person you are and you want to go around and run your mouth, it's if you're gonna shoot yourself in your own foot in front of God and everybody, and then sit there and cry foul and say blame other people for it, then yeah, that's your own fault. Senator Amatala, how you doing, sweetie? Yes, aliens. We're talking about aliens. I had a little bit of a hard time kind of deciding what I wanted to talk about tonight, but I found some good stuff because I'm very much into I just call them Barney and Betty because I can never remember their last name. Travis Walton. I found some decent videos we can watch and discussions and whatnot. Friday is going to be lit. And then we're going to follow up when next Wednesday is going to be good too. So this Friday, we're starting in on demons, low vibrational entities, all kinds of, bad jujus. And then Wednesday, we're going to do alcohol and the spiritual effects of it, and how it makes you susceptible. Yes, Kelly Jean. That is the interracial couple that was abducted in 1961. We're going to get into it. I'm so excited to see everybody here. I appreciate everybody being here. It's been wild. It's been wild out there. Amidala knows what I'm talking about. I try to keep it separate. I try to keep the gore world type stuff separate from this, but it kind of bleeds over a little bit. Whew, so yeah. Let me make sure. Oh, and make sure you are on all messages and not top messages. So yeah. Just kind of want to wait a minute, see how everybody's doing. Let some people get their notifications and whatnots. I have I need to get like some just like fun videos to play in the beginning of these streams, just to kind of like let people come in and whatever. And I've got some lined up for my Sunday stream, so Sunday stream's gonna be good too. Oh, Amidala, if you want to see aliens, just look at the sky in Arizona and Nevada, which is where I live. I live in northern Nevada. I think more stuff tends to happen in southern Nevada, but I don't know. So yeah. YouTube's driving me nuts with the notifications. And Illyria, I like it as Ravenwick though, because That's what Mick calls me. Like if she texts me or sees me in a chat, it's Burbwick. So, so aliens. I have said multiple times, I'll say it again. I personally think it is mathematically impossible that we are the only life forms in our galaxy and the universe in general. We don't even know. We can't even fathom. I don't care what kind of math or whatever you do to quantify it and whatnot. We cannot, with our human brains, fathom just how big the universe is. Just think of like our galaxy, just the Milky Way in and of itself, right? Like we're one of many. And I've seen those videos where it's like they'll start with like a person standing on Earth and then like zoom out to, you know, like the planet and then the solar system and then the galaxy, and then it keeps going. And I try not to think about that because I get like real hot and sweaty and anxious, and I'm like, oh my god, that's a lot. But you know, here we are. Yes, definitely existential crisis. It is cute that she calls me that. I haven't talked to her much. I miss her. And Mick made my intro for me. I was like, hey, can you make me something? And she was like, yeah, sure. Dude, I'm like finding out I'm like unsubbed from YouTube channels I've been subbed to forever. I'm like unfollowing people on Twitter I've been following forever, but like I haven't gone in and unsubbed or unfollowed, you know. And I'm sorry if you're on Twitter, please don't take this personal, anyone in here, because I'm sure you do it for good reasons. If you're on Twitter and you protect your tweets after running your mouth, you're a baby back bitch. There, I fucking said it. God damn. Hi, Pipe. What is my channel? I don't know, man. So we've got some fun stuff lined up. Ooh, Illyria, you'll have to DM me on Twitter and tell me what those two channels are, because I'm nosy, but I want to know. And yeah, if I'm known for one thing, it's keeping my mouth shut. Welcome in, Share Bear. How you doing? Oh, we'll be talking about all of it on Sunday if I don't go live before that. I don't know. We'll see. If Chantal shows up in Canada, which she may or may not, and my pain level's not too bad and I can actually sit here at my desk, I will go live if she goes live from Canada. Cool. All right. So let me go over to my playlist. Yeah, Sundays are going to be good. So we're going to start first. I found these videos. They're a couple years old, but I really liked them because I think the longest one I have is like 33 minutes. But, you know, we hang out here for a little while, so no bigs. And the New York Post, I have quite a few videos from them. They were calling it like the basement office, sort of like their X-Files situation type deal moment. And I was really liking them, and they're just like, I felt like they're enough information, but also they're well done. I've got the thing from CNN that NASA put out today. Just don't trust the government. I'm not even that big on pulling from MSM, mainstream media, but you know, it is one of those. And look at me being all professional YouTuber. I've got my videos in the order that it's like we're definitely going to watch these, and then as it goes down the list, it's like me, if we get to it, we get to it. I've got some crop circly stuff, but definitely the first 4, which is probably like a good hour's worth of content, and then add in commenting and stuff. So, which I've noticed, I started putting fun fact, I started putting the copyright thing in my description. My videos don't get copyright claimed. So that means I get all my views and stuff. It's great. Winston, sir. Winston is in here. Hello, Winston. All right, so let's get into this. So, I think what is considered to be like the first. Oh, and if you like the song, it's called Stairway by Patricios. It's like copyright free in YouTube Studios. I thought it was kind of fun. The first case of alien abduction. Oh, sir. Hold, please. I think Winston wants to leave. Let me let him out. He might need some water. Come on. Do you want to go out? Come on. Go get a drink. Winston's very good about saying, like, I want to go out, I want to come in. So yeah, he'll let you know what he wants and needs. Love him so much. So the first sort of documented case of like Roswell was like the first crash, right? But really one of the first documented cases of people being like, we were like straight up abducted by aliens are Betty and Barney Hill. And as we're watching the video, I will tell you why I believe them. And they just sounded like very lovely, great, amazing people. Well, let me look at the comments real quick. Welcome in, Shadow Hair. Yeah, Winston's like, listen, I'm not down for the aliens, man. I'm like 18 pounds. I don't know about all that. Shadow Hair, Share Bear. Aw, thank you guys for being here. I appreciate you so much. All right. And you know, my lives have been doing pretty well on the replays. Forgot to put in, you know what I'm terrible. I forget to do like hashtaggy things like tags, you know, and I'm kind of lazy. Like I just want to get on here and talk and have fun. All right. So let's get to the playlist. So the first video is from the New York Post, their series they had called The Basement Office. It's about alien abduction, Betty and Barney Hill, Travis Walton. If you've seen the movie Fire in the Sky with what's his name, DB Sweeney, you know, it's yeah. All right. So
most of the objects that are like
let's get into this. I'll let it play and then check the sound with you guys.
Pulled from these people who claim they're not getting like Matrix robots
hold
out
on.
of their skin or anything.
I was watching this.
I haven't really seen or anything.
Sorry, so sorry. See, but you guys know I'm watching, I'm like, is this quality? Are there things in here I can talk about? How do I feel about this? Is it so like you guys know I'm spending hours like trying to find this stuff for us.
Skeptical theories is that these people are attention seeking or they're in it for fame and fortune. Well, not sure there's too much fame or a lot of fortune to be had. They're speaking out more because they're looking for answers, I think. If you have an experience like that, and you genuinely believe you've had that experience, part of you will say, maybe I'm going crazy.
I just flipped out. I became hysterical.
Because it's one thing to say that you've seen a UFO. It's quite another to say that you've been on board one.
How many of us have either think we've seen a UFO or know for a fact we've seen a UFO? And keep in mind, UFO stands for unidentified flying object. UFO doesn't necessarily mean an alien extraterrestrial spacecraft. Let me know in the chat. I don't think I've ever like seen a UFO that I don't remember anything specific. I know my brother did. when he was like way up in northern Wisconsin with our friend Kenny that passed away, and they were up there for the weekend, and neither one of them really wanted to talk about it because it freaked him out.
Throughout our pop culture, there are countless scary movies, TV shows, stories of aliens kidnapping humans, conducting invasive experiments on them.
Yeah, Travis even said nothing like that happened when he was on board that ship. And that was all, like Hollywood, they gotta make it freaky and whatnot. But I don't know, maybe I forget if he mentions that.
Leaving them permanently haunted from the experience.
I see you. I'm seeing something there. I don't think I like it.
Christopher Walken is without a doubt one of my favorite actors. I absolutely love him so much.
But beyond these examples of science fiction entertainment, there are real people who claim this is really happening.
Abducted by aliens.
Being abducted by aliens is not so far-fetched, and many people say they have been.
I was abducted by something. I don't know what it was or where it was from.
She claims to have boarded a spaceship when she was 7.
And while it's impossible to prove and validate these incredible claims, the stories remain, continue, and have become urban legends. Today, we will analyze close encounters of the fourth kind, alien abduction. Welcome to the basement office.
A fun little show.
When I say the phrase abducted by aliens, alien abduction, most people have heard that before in various ways throughout pop culture, movies, television, music, books, all forms of entertainment. And it's through that.
Here's a theory for you. You want me to blow your mind? What if I think the aliens are here. They've been here for a while. The government knows about them, talks to them. We can cover Valiant Thor, that guy. I'll get into some wild theories, but I'll just say that for now. What if some of the things that people remember as alien abduction are not alien abduction, but maybe perhaps government agencies, just various agents or agencies with capabilities of things that sound not possible, like timeline jumping, stopping time, portal situation type deals, are abducting people due to their DNA, which we'll get into DNA. Everything's linked to DNA. So you've got like the genetic factor. Some people still are being used as super soldiers, and super soldiers aren't like big buff dudes. That's not at all. We'll get into that. There's one channel I watch about all that. So what if like some cases where people think they were abducted by aliens, they weren't. It was something else, most likely nefarious, but they were made to believe that it was, because the human mind is very easily manipulated, and we'll get into MK Ultra too.
That lens, an admission that as a journalist, there is no way I could prove alien abduction is real. By the end of this episode, we're not going to offer much of anything new to prove that alien abductions are real. But what we are acknowledging today is the fact that the concept of a close encounter of the fourth kind, an abduction, a kidnapping by an alien presence is part of the zeitgeist of our pop culture, and we are going to acknowledge that through certain cases that have become part of folklore in this country, a part of urban legend in this country. And I'd like to start in 1961 with the grandfather of them all, in many ways the genesis of the idea of being abducted by aliens, the Betty and Barney Hill case.
Well, this is
What does NORAD stand for? I forgot. I know NORAD is like something. Help me out so we can explain. I can Google it if we need to, Share Bear. Hold on, let me Google it, Share, so that I can, because not everyone's going to know what NORAD is. North American Aerospace Defense Command. It is a combined organization of the United States and Canada that provides aerospace warning, air sovereignty, and protection for Canada and continental United States. I remember hearing a lot about it as a kid in the 80s with, like, you know, when we thought Russia was going to nuke us all the time. It's responsible for detecting, validating, and warning of any attack against North America, whether by aircraft, missiles, or space vehicles. So that is what NORAD is, and I'm so glad you asked that, because I know I want to do NORAD, I want to do HARP, so many things, all the things.
September 1961. Betty and Barney Hill are
So keep in mind, this is 1961, okay?
driving back home late at night and claim that they see a light in the sky, and it's kind of a little bit spooky, seems to be following them. I guess it's a classic UFO encounter. And they get home and they say that two odd things happen. First, they find that their journey took longer than it should have done. This is a route they were familiar with. There was a period of unaccounted for time, missing time. It's like something happened and maybe their memory edited it out. The second thing that happened was that they started having flashbacks, dreams, suggesting that something else had happened during that sighting. Something they were somehow forgetting part of the story. And this got really troubling. And then they went and they met a doctor who specialized in hypnotic regression. And he regressed them. And under regression hypnosis emerged this story that, look, this wasn't just a UFO sighting. They say that this thing actually took them on board the craft. They were abducted by aliens.
I spoke with Betty's niece, who was alive.
Kat, I'm glad you're having fun. That's my goal. I want to have fun. I want to get weird. Maybe I'll start calling it like Weird Wednesday, or I don't know, because I might do shorter, you know, like Friday's going to be like the long, intense stream. Wednesdays can be a follow-up, or if there's just, you know, like just Wednesdays can be like shorter or just like weird shit, you know, just whatever we want it to be. So always throw your suggestions at me, but I'm glad you're having fun. I'm having fun too.
And in the room as a young girl, when Betty and Barney first called and said that they had experienced this. She remembers being a little girl and her aunt and uncle telling this story just right after this experience. Let's cut to her and see what she has to say.
My name is Kathleen Marden, and Betty and Barney Hill were my aunt and uncle. I was 13 years old when this happened.
So you remember that day in your memory, you remember Betty calling?
Yes, Betty called my mother, who was her sister. I was home from school that afternoon, And it was so shocking to me that I remember it very well.
At that point, was Betty saying they saw something, or was Betty saying we were taken?
I've been thinking about this all day. So this is New Hampshire, right? 1961. I don't know what it was like in New Hampshire in 1961 because you tend to hear about other parts of the country more, specifically the South, going into the civil rights movement. Here you have a young couple that is interracial. I'm sure they got enough shit from some people and whatnot in 1961 for that alone. So I've been thinking all day. Well, one, everyone's energy is telling me they're telling the truth. Two, on top of being an interracial couple in 1961, why would these two be like, oh yeah, on top of that, let's let's tell everybody didn't just see a UFO, but they just whole ass took us on to the spacecraft. And like, why would they do that? I would bet that on occasion in some areas, navigating through the world in that time period, very unfortunately, was difficult enough as it is. Why would they make it worse?
Betty was talking about a close encounter with an unconventional craft. They remembered immediately that Barney saw figures on that craft that he described as being clothed in black, shiny uniforms. And almost immediately, she and Barney heard a series of code-like buzzing sounds striking the trunk of their 1957 Chevy. The next thing they knew, as if only a moment had passed, they were 35 miles down the highway. They didn't know how they got there. And then they drove on home, and they found evidence that something unexplained and unexplainable had occurred to them. Betty's dress was torn in several places. Barney's shoes were so deeply scraped that he had to buy new shoes.
Regarding what I'm seeing in the comments, we have not discussed that yet, but I will say this. So astral projection is basically out of body experience. There's 2 channels that I can recommend. They talk about that in detail and all kind of things like soul contracts. The girl, she actually did a reading for me, and I have it, and I could play it. I might save that for down the road sometime, or I don't know. I want that to be a little more private, but I'd have to listen to it. But yeah, she did a reading for me. It was very interesting. My advice is educate yourself first before you try getting out of your body. If it happens on accident, which it does, whatever, then you don't need to leave your body to do that. You can do what I call like just projecting or like throwing. I call it like throwing myself, like going to different places, even different times. I've had friends call me and be like, "We had an argument with our in-laws. Can you go back and read that for us?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure. Describe everything to a T." Yeah. It's pretty cool to do, and I don't know how to explain how I do it, but I don't know. I've gotten a lot of confirmation from people that I've been right on and whatever, and I don't bullshit, and I'm not crazy, although I'm sure some people will think I am because we're told this stuff isn't real, just like we're told aliens aren't real, but trust your government.
The watches they were wearing that night had stopped running and never ran again.
It was suggested to Betty and Barney Hill that they call the local Air Force base about their encounter. And here is the official U.S. Air Force report regarding Betty and Barney Hill's UFO.
Wow.
Their testimony of the sighting is recorded. It's regarded as a strange incident. The subject of the report is unidentified flying object. The report states that radar did indeed pick up an unidentified flying object that night, but that it was a weak return and it could have been a false reading. It also states that while there are some inconsistencies in the story, Barney Hill's, quote, honesty and seriousness appear to be valid. But there was no official final conclusion as to what they had seen that night. At what point do Betty and Barney begin to remember their abduction?
Betty had a series of dreams that began 10 days after the event. They happened very early in the morning, just as she was waking up. And she wondered if they might be real. Barney simply developed post-traumatic stress disorder. And we attempted to help Betty and Barney.
So they're just going about their lives, driving home one night, and then all of a sudden, just bam, boom. Wow. I don't know. I don't think it's an accident. I think it's got something to do with people's DNA, people's abilities, people, because there's a lot of a lot of people that are super soldiers, you don't realize it until like the memories start breaking through and whatever. And super soldiers have a lot of like abduction-y type things, but then again, they've been in like jump rooms and and I'm gonna say this, all that shit's real. But again, it's why do you think it's put in movies and then we're told it's not real? And okay, so we're told it's not real. But there's a lot of shit we're told is real. And it's either skewed, not real at all, completely backwards. So I'm just going to make up my own mind. And with the people I've talked to, I'm going to say I think it's real.
As a family, to find answers.
What brought on the hypnosis? At what point does someone go, hey, you guys should be hypnotized?
Barney ended up taking a
Oh, I wish Dorothy What's-Her-Face would have been around. Oh, my God.
leave of absence from work. He had developed high blood pressure, bleeding ulcers, post-traumatic stress disorder, wasn't able to sleep. He was very traumatized by all of this. And so Dr. Benjamin Simon was recommended. The hypnosis sessions began in 1964, early 1964.
Okay. And these hypnosis sessions were, or at least partly recorded. There is audio, correct?
Yes, they were recorded on.
Hammond, my understanding of a super soldier is somebody, it's more energetic, psychically intrinsic. They are, how do I say this? Oof. It's like somebody that's able and does travel as needed, and whatever capacity is needed. I'm kind of speaking in code to you here. And the body doesn't really matter. And we can talk about it more in DMs.
Audio.
I don't know where we are. I don't even know how we got here.
They took me and carried me up this ramp. God, I was scared.
Aww.
They're taking me up to the object. I don't want to go on it. I don't want it. I don't know what's going to happen if I go on it. I don't want to go.
Through separate hypnosis sessions, Betty and Barney remembered in clear detail having their car halted by men standing in the road. Barney realized these were the same ones he saw on the craft. Betty became hysterical at this point. She had never been so frightened in her life. She opened the door to the car and was going to run into the woods and hide. She was
These poor Betty and Barney, can you imagine? Oh my God. You know what? It sucks they went through this and it seemed like it really affected them the rest of their lives, but I don't know, this might sound weird, but I'm glad at least they were together.
intercepted before she could do this.
Hi, Queen. Welcome in. Thanks for being here. It's good to see you, sweetie.
Barney opened the car door. He stepped out and he was taken. He and Betty were escorted down a path through the woods onto a craft. Betty fought. This is how her dress was torn. Barney could feel the toes of his shoes bumping along the rocks. This is what caused the damage to his shoes. They were taken to separate examining rooms on the craft where they were given separate examinations. The non-human entities were very interested in their skeletal structure, in their nervous system, in their skin, in what was inside their mouths, inside their ears. Skin scrapings were taken, hair samples were taken.
And he sticks a needle into my nail. And I'm crying and I tell him it's hurting, it's hurting, it's hurting. Take it out.
All right. Get away from me. All right.
Aww. That's like pure terror. That's pure. Oh, that poor thing. Oh, I wish I could hug her. Hammy, remember how I told you I took the ASVAB and like every branch was calling me, but I never joined? I didn't join the military. But I'm not saying I don't. I can really understand the whole super soldier thing, and Sarah Kay's exactly right. And that's all I'm saying for now.
Up in New Hampshire, where this took place, there's actually a sign, a historical sign, an official historical.
What's it say? Betty and Barney Hill incident on the night of September 19th, 20th. Oh my God, my mom's birthday is September 20th. 1961, Portsmouth, New Hampshire couple Betty and Barney Hill experienced a close encounter with an unidentified flying object. And 2 hours of quote unquote lost time while driving south on Route 3 near Lincoln. They filed an official Air Force Project Blue Book report of a brightly lit cigar-shaped craft the next day, but were not public with their story until it was leaked in the Boston Traveler in 1965. This was the first widely reported UFO abduction report in the United States. That's what the sign says.
Sign here on this road is where Betty and Barney Hill experienced their alien abduction.
Look how stinking cute they are. Aw, they're so cute. Damn, Betty, Barney was a cutie patootie. Good for you, Betty.
Their alien encounter. It's fascinating to me that despite there being no traditional evidence, physical evidence, smoking gun evidence of this case, that it is still deemed a historical event by the state of New Hampshire, by universities, that they recognize the historical cultural aspect this case had.
Well, I think that's right, that whether you believe this happened in a literal physical sense or not, and of course opinions are divided on that, there's no denying that it is part of pop culture, and so thus it is historically significant. This case, after all, is the ground zero of the alien abduction phenomenon. If you were a skeptic, you would say this is the case that led to lots of copycats. And if you're a believer, you'd say this is the case that encouraged other people who had or were going to have these experiences to speak.
Sorry, Illyria. Cat, you're are you pocket modding? Oh god. Oh no, that went down wrong. Hi, April. Illyria, you've been timed out for 300 seconds, which is 5 minutes, and then you'll be back. I apologize. I'm so sorry. I think our dearest Katarina is Cadith Jean. Are you pocket modding? We've all done it. Don't worry about it. But you'll be back in the game here shortly, Illyria. Sorry.
Speak out because they felt that maybe they weren't alone with this after all.
Let's move on.
You deleted 2 of her comments and then timed her out, Cat. It's fine. We all do it.
From Betty and Barney to 1975, another pop culture event happens with Travis Walton. And for those of you who have seen the movie Fire in the Sky,
Travis Walton.
I saw when I was 12 and scared the crap out of me.
Right. DB Sweeney's a hottie.
Well, Travis is a logger, and he and a group of loggers are clearing an area of forest up near Snowflake, Arizona. And they say that they see a UFO at extremely close range.
Hi, April.
And Travis, I mean, being, I guess, the sort of bad boy of the group, approaches this object. And his testimony, and the testimony from the other people in the group, is that a beam of light then strikes him, comes from the UFO, hits him, sends him flying, and they think he's dead. And they just hightail it out of there. They drive away at high speed, and eventually when they stop panicking.
These guys were loggers, okay? These dudes, Travis was a man's man. He was a man, right? So like just keep that in mind.
They say, no, we've got to go back for him.
I love me a manly. I love a manly man. Just men. That testosterone, a little facial. Give me a man.
They go back. He's gone. They head back into town and what to do. So they kind of relay this story, and the local sheriff's department think that they've murdered him.
Right, obviously.
But they stick to their story that there was this UFO encounter, and these people are seriously.
They're okay. I'm not saying I don't love the women too. You know, I just, you know, I'm a multifaceted burb.
Being questioned with the view that they might have killed him.
Right. Hey, Creek.
So if this was a prank of some sort, this is the time to fess up to it.
Right.
Say, no, he's okay. He's
when
just,
the police is
he's
accusing
just hiding
you of
somewhere.
murder,
Yeah.
Wow.
Then you're like, okay, it was just a joke, right?
5 days later, he turns up again.
5 days like that. If it was a couple of hours, I could see how people were like, oh, a couple. He could have been like up 5 fucking days. They thought his like friends and co-worker, and not just because of the movie, and it is a great movie, Fire in the Sky. If you haven't seen it, highly recommend it. Again, DB Sweeney's a little cutie patootie. That and The Cutting Edge are like my favorite roles of his, but they all, and like, what do you do? What do you do? Like, you see your friend, whole ass is like, boop, chip, boop. Like, okay, going away for, you don't know if he's going to come back. You don't know if what you saw was real. Can you imagine? I can't imagine how traumatic that was for everybody. And I do believe that happened.
Disorientated, disheveled, not exactly sure what's going on. With
Wow.
Patchy memory of precisely what has happened. And at that point, well, that's huge relief. At least they haven't killed him. So they're off they're off the hook on.
You obviously didn't kill this guy because there he is.
Yeah.
He's acting weird, but there he is. You didn't kill him.
I wonder if he wouldn't have turned back up if they would have charged them all. Like, there's no body, no evidence. It's all circumstantial. Like, oof. What would have happened if Travis Walton didn't pop back up? And Creek, don't worry. Anytime you show up, I'm appreciative. Thanks for being here.
Great.
And he sticks to his story. And he sticks to his story to this day.
Yeah.
Which is that after he was struck by this light beam, he was taken on board the craft.
Oh, you were on board the craft. You remember that?
Yes.
What do they want with you?
I don't know.
He described 3 entities, quite short, disproportionately large heads again.
Sorry. The disproportionately large head makes me laugh. In conjunction with somebody who's been running his mouth in these YouTube streets. Ran his mouth so much on YouTube and Twitter, he now has Adonis Paul has this douche canoe in his sights. Has an abnormally large head. If you know, you know.
Huge.
Follow me on Twitter. Again, link is in my description. Oh, Jesus Christ. Description. Follow me on Twitter, and you can sub to mixed channels there as well.
Eyes, and they were wearing some sort of one-piece orange jumpsuit. And he
Chuck.
says he fought with them. He struggled. He was afraid. He fought them. And
Bodega love, cha-cha, bodega love, we gotta get the pitos.
this went on until a human-looking, I mean, maybe human,
Yay,
maybe
Illyria!
human-looking entity,
Woo-hoo!
who knows, but came and led him out of that confrontational situation into another part of the craft to calm him down. And then some other human or apparently human beings put some sort of clear plastic mask over his mouth. And the last thing that he remembers was this image. And
That would freak me out. Just, ooh, I don't. Like, not being able to move my arms freaks me out. And like anything, I have this weird thing about, I don't like putting my head underwater. I'm good when being put under anesthesia for surgery usually, but I don't know if I've like drowned or like been buried alive in a past life, but there's something about not being able to move my arms. Like if I had to be stuck in sand and couldn't move my legs, but could still freely move my arms, I'd be fine. The other way around, oh, hell no. Nope, can't do it. And I don't like the thought of like when he's like, "Oh, put a plastic thing over his face," that kind of freaks me out. I had a whole conversation with Mick one day. I'm talking for like an hour and a half about would we rather this is the shit we talk about, okay? Would we rather be stuck in like a submarine or like an abyss underwater type structure or in like a space station or spacecraft type thing? And it was a whole conversation and it was nightmarish because the thought of either one of those just
next thing.
And yes, I know about the Adonis Paul Hammond. I was in his stream last night because I'm very excited for the documentary he's working on because I've been following those douche canoes over there for quite a while, and the one that he's set his sights on. Yeah, hopefully it's going to be like a domino effect. We'll talk about it later.
He came to,
Sure.
walking down the highway,
Sure.
and the UFO was above him, departing. Central to a lot of these encounters is some sort of what looks to be a medical procedure, an examination, taking off samples, whatever it is. Not a million miles away, I guess, from what we would do if we were tranquilizing an animal and studying it. We'd take a sample, we'd maybe put a tracker in it, release it again.
Right. Now, so these gentlemen took lie detector tests.
there were at least 2 lie detector tests, and some of these people have had multiple tests. I mean, the truth of it is that some were passed, some were failed, some were in.
Welcome in, Layla. Here's a question. Everybody always thinks like, okay, people get abducted and they talk about being probed or whatever. I know implants, whether physical or etheric, are a thing. Like, you, again, everything is energy. You're in your physical body, but the real you is energy. It's etheric, right? It's not of like a physical thing as we know it. And I've encountered a lot of etheric implantations and like attachments and things with people where it's like they just feel off or something's going on. I've actually had a whole ass entity attached to me by people I thought were my friends. I can tell you, we'll talk about her when we talk about demons next week. Like, we're cool now, we're friends, like, we worked it out. I'll explain everything next week. She's cool, but it was quite the fucking experience. But like, why would aliens travel light years to come like stick something up a human's butt? I Chuck might know. Sorry. But I don't know. I wonder, is like, are they really taking samples and examining us? Are they, I don't know. Or have there been instances where perhaps they, like, somebody was taken and they did a medical quote unquote procedure, but they were actually removing a cancer or something? I don't know. I think about it. I wonder. It's like everything is not always like, oh, bad. It's like, well, what if they were actually trying to help? I don't know. You guys know what I mean.
Inconclusive. I think there's a wider debate to be had about lie detectors anyway. According to various reliable sources, they're not 100% accurate. Some people can beat the system. And of course, if you believe, even if you think lie detectors work, if you believe this happened to you, but it didn't, you will pass. So it's possible to pass a lie detector test.
And I meant to say Layla.
As long as you sincerely believe that this is what happened.
Right. And Travis's story also is another story that's entered into, a certain aspect of American folklore. It's become a story that is told, a movie that is made.
Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god.
A book that is written. It's not scientific, it's not forensic, it's not a provable story from the traditional standpoint, but it's there. It's in the American culture. It's in the American zeitgeist. The story. You've met Travis. What's your impression of him?
He strikes me as being utterly sincere. The other odd thing, which I think lends credibility here, is that Travis is a tough guy. I mean, these are loggers. They don't scare easily, and he was, by all accounts, something of the troublemaker in the group, the real wild, bad boy.
Yeah,
and
he was a man.
Every time I meet him, we talk about this. I look him in the eyes, and I see that same look that you see in the eyes of someone who has post-traumatic stress disorder, and some say that's exactly what he has, a sort of haunted, hunted look, this big, tough logger, and yet this he can't deal with.
Okay, I want to talk about Terry Lovelace. He and his friends go camping in 1977, and they see a UFO. They're sitting around, and they see a hovering UFO. And here's a sketch of the UFO he claims he and his friends saw: a massive triangle UFO. You can see he drew himself and his friends below in order to convey the scale of this thing. At one point, one of his friends allegedly shined a flashlight onto the craft, and he says the triangle center light responded by shining a bright beam onto them. And I think Terry thought that's all it was this strange encounter buddies had while camping, until 2012, when he developed, I think he called it a numb spot in
Here we go with the implants.
his leg. It was a spot where he couldn't feel his finger or anything, and went to get x-rayed.
And these are the supposed x-rays that were taken. And he claims doctors found a metal object here in his leg.
Mm-hmm.
And the strange thing about the object in his leg is that on the skin outside of the leg, there is no scar tissue, or there's no evidence that something was cut in an object.
Just like sometimes when certain people die, there's no evidence of anything because technology we don't know about. You know, it's just a little quick little boom, person's dead. No trace of anything weird.
Put in, or shrapnel, it would leave a scar of some sort. And outside of
This video, Creek, this is it's from a channel, New York Post, The Basement Office. If you want, I can send you I can DM you all of these that we're going to watch. If you want to watch them later at your leisure, let me know.
his skin, there is absolutely no evidence of an incision, a scar, no scar tissue whatsoever.
And Terry wrote a book about his experiences. Let's listen to him tell the story about this discovery.
The radiologist asked, "Mr. Lovelace, I see what looks like a tiny piece of square metal in your right leg, just above your knee."
"Oh,
"Doctor, that's news to me," I said. The radiologist carefully.
In the book, if you don't know who Linda Moulton Howe is, she has Earth Files. She has her own YouTube channel. She is considered one of the foremost experts on aliens. I'd say the etheric, esoteric, occult, all that stuff. She's like, you know how I am about Papa Maxwell? She's like Mama Howe, Linda Moulton Howe. Yeah, I need to definitely read more of her stuff, but her name's on the book, so you can look up her YouTube channel. I can share it on my Twitter if you want. Let me write that down.
Carefully examined my knee and lower thigh. After a few minutes, he shook his head and admitted, "I don't see it. It should be right here," he said, poking my thigh with his finger. "What should be right here?" I asked. "A point of entry." "What do you mean a point of entry?" I asked.
I have a Marina too, so I mean not like a next plan on, but I've got a Marina. It's weird because you think of yourself as like a whole, like your body, but then your body is separate, and especially as chronic pain and chronic ill folks, you know how it is, like to feel like my body's betraying me, and then there's your brain and your mind. Like your brain is one thing, your mind is something else. I think about a lot of stuff. I have a lot of time to myself and I think about a lot. So, yeah.
"I mean, there should be a scar where this piece of metal pierced your skin and entered your thigh." After another 10-minute examination, she reached the same conclusion. There was no scar to be found.
And he discovers this when he's much older in 2012.
Oh.
And much like Betty and Barney and Travis, he claims that in 1977, in this incident, he was abducted by aliens.
I was seeing this play out in my mind. It was familiar. These were real memories. I'm on their table and held down. Then I can't move at all. I'm aware of others around me. They are aliens, not people. I know it's about to start, the examination. They do medical things and hurt me while I'm on the table. I fill my lungs with air to scream, and nothing comes out again.
Oh, God.
This
Oh, that just. Oh, that line just freaked me out. Oh God, That's like being under anesthesia, except you're awake, but the doctors don't know it, and they keep on performing the surgery, which does happen and freaks me the fuck out. Oh, Katarina Jean, we love you. I hope everything goes well for your MRI and whatever it is, we will be here to get you through it. Um, I'm in the same boat. I had an existing back injury for 20 years and it was good. I had surgery on January 13th and I don't know what these people at the surgery center did to me while I was under general anesthesia. It has been 5 months of a living hell. Like I can feel something and is like crunching around on my left side now. I'm in constant like pain with my sciatic and my hamstring. It's terrible. And I've called my doctor's office in tears, begging for relief. And yeah, I can hear the verbal side eye. It's great. We're going to do a whole stream about it.
This guy has an interesting CV. I mean, he was former military, and then he became a prosecutor, and he ended up as assistant attorney general in the American Samoa territory.
Oh.
So this is not somebody who you would think would be one just to make up a story like this. You're opening yourself up to a world of hurt and ridicule.
See, and that's why I'm kind of hesitant. Part of me is like, fuck it. Just tell your stories and say what you believe and just talk about whatever you want to talk about. People want to hear this. People need to hear this. And I know people, whether it's in the Gore World community or just in general, are going to stumble across my videos and be like, well, that bitch is crazy. Okay, cool, fine. But the fact that I'm sitting here being like, I know I sound crazy. I know this is hard to believe. When I talk about being able to, if you want to call it projecting my energy or my consciousness, like that story I told about having that voice conversation with like a complete stranger on Discord, yet I just connected with him and it was like I was standing right next to him looking around, described the room, everything exactly how it was set up. I walked over to the window, looked out the window, described his property, felt the energy of the property, relate to him what I was picking up as far as like, oh, your family bought this and it's so many generations, and freaked him out so bad because I don't think it's that he couldn't accept what I did and what I was able to do. I think it just he didn't want it to be real. I think he came there to be a skeptic and be like, "Oh, this isn't real," and whatever. And just having a friendly conversation like freaked him out. He literally thought I could see him or something. And I was like, "Dude, I can barely check my email, you know?" And it's a scary thing to sit here and talk about and admit to these things that again we are presented with, whether it's aliens or if you want to call it psychic abilities, which I hate that term because it has such a negative connotation. um anything magic with a K, quote unquote conspiracies and whatnot, things we are literally bombarded with and surrounded by all day every day, but we're told it's not true. And if you think it's true or you believe that, you're crazy and you need help and what's wrong with you, and that's silly. But yet I'm supposed to trust and believe that my government or any world agency has mine or our best interest at heart, and it's fine. Don't worry about what's in the syringe. Just let us inject you. No, no, chuck, chuck.
Which is interesting Because, of course, one of the skeptical theories is that these people are attention seeking, or they're in it for fame and fortune. Well, not sure there's too much fame or a lot of fortune to be had. They're speaking out more because they're looking for answers, I think. If you have an experience like that, and you genuinely believe you've had that experience, part of you will say, maybe I'm going crazy. Because it's one thing to say that you've seen a UFO. It's quite another to say that you've been on board one.
If you're curious about alien abduction, the validity of it, and you start your search, within a few minutes, you're going to realize it's not just like a handful. There are lots and lots and lots of people like Betty and Barney and like Travis who claim to have had similar experiences, correct?
Absolutely. There are literally thousands and thousands of these cases.
And like, again, with every one of these cases, there is little to no physical like evidence, analyzable evidence. That's not to say like I don't want to be insensitive, because in a lot of these cases they believe they were.
Yes.
They believe that the traumatic assault, the traumatic pain endured, the nightmares, they believe, and I believe they believe what they're saying, and that they suffer from something and that they're traumatized by something. And I don't want to minimize that or make fun or berate that, because that all of that is serious stuff and should be taken into account when it comes to the well-being of this human being. But there are
That's another again, the human mind, the human psyche. There's a reason first the Nazis, and then we brought most, if not all of them, over here, like Operation Paperclip. We're going to cover that. They were during World War II, the Nazis were doing horrible experiments. You know, like Mangala with the twins, wanting to know, like, if I stab this twin, is the other one going to feel it? And then that moved on and progressed to mind control, and of course, the beloved MK Ultra, and the use of psychedelics. And I have some audiobooks to listen to, one in particular about Charles Manson, and whatever that canyon on the thing where they lived, how he was supposedly recruited by the CIA and all this stuff. And it was like this big mind fuck experiment in like LA and California in the 60s, right? And it's funny how the US government predicted that movement of, like, flower children, hippie love, peace, all that stuff. Funny how they knew that was going to happen and when. And I've heard several times that the CIA sent agents in specifically to like Haight-Ashbury in San Francisco, provided them with LSD and whatnot, and was like, we're going to get you set up with an apartment. And it was like, oh, I'm just the neighborhood dude with the LSD hookup. Come and hang out. You can trip here and be safe. And really, it was all a fucking experiment. And the government was in on it. I have those books I need to listen to. And like I said, we're gonna get into it. This isn't gonna just be as as difficult as some of this is to talk about, especially when it comes to my personal experiences and things I believe. You can go to any YouTube channel. You can turn on your TV and watch whatever little fluff piece you want to watch. And granted, I can only pull from so many resources that I have access to. But my whole point in doing this in Fridays is I want to get below that surface level bullshit, right? I want to sit here and I want to say the things that I'm hesitant to say. But yet we're all thinking, or it's I've been through that too, or this, or and next thing you know, it's like this. It's like, oh my God. And I don't expect everybody to believe. Again, I gotta, you guys, can you guys start? I gotta start remembering to do my disclaimer. I'm not here to convert or convince anybody. We are here to have a good discussion and share thoughts and ideas and what ifs and experiences. And some of you that I know and that I trust, you guys are welcome. DM me. And if you just want to talk about it one on one, or if it's like, hey, this, that, and the other thing about this topic, can I maybe come up and, like talk with you one night? Yes, of course. Like, there's so much out there that I think people are missing and that I think is important. And I just like talking about weird shit. Okay.
There are explanations, psychological and
Sure,
otherwise,
sure.
that could explain some of alien abductions, basically. And what are some of those kind of overarching, not case by case, but like an overarching explanation?
Well, first of all, right at the top of my answer, I should mention probably the biggest problem with the whole alien abduction phenomenon, and that's the fact that a large amount of this material only comes out after regression hypnosis. Not all of it, but a lot of it. And that's a problem because there isn't even consensus in the scientific community and the psychological community about what hypnosis is. Is the hypnotic state, for example, is it an altered state of consciousness, or is it just a very focused state of mind? And there's huge disagreement about the validity of regression hypnosis in actually recovering lost memories. And even further than that, there's a suspicion on a large part of the psychological psychiatric community that not only is it not reliable, it can be counterproductive and it actually can result in false memories.
It's a flawed approach.
It is.
I
I mean,
even
even
suggestible. You could almost plant memories that weren't there before.
Yes, a lot of people are extremely suggestible under hypnosis. Now, there are various other
They're
things that have been postulated in relation to alien abduction. There was a theory doing the rounds, for example, that there's something called birth trauma, that we have suppressed traumatic memories of the birth experience. And
Yes. I was talking about this the other day about, when you're born as a baby, your vision is very blurred and blown out and distorted. And how you would view your mother, essentially your mother's face, would be a big head and the eyes would seem really
with the big heads.
Big. And even though I can't right now consciously remember when I was 2 days old any memories, those are in there. Somewhere in your brain are those images buried, and accessing those images of the big head and the
yeah. Okay, Northwoods,
is
yeah.
a possibility, an explanation that you've tapped into that fear, being outside of your element and being in a white room and people being prodded and poked and cut and snipped and all of this stuff.
One of the explanations that's been suggested is sleep paralysis. Sleep paralysis, under which you can sometimes get these incredible
Sleep paralysis makes me think of demons, and we're gonna get into it Friday. Or at least I'm gonna try to. There's so much to cover, and like I said, we'll talk about it Wednesday. You guys, you let me know, because there's so much to cover about demons and low vibrational entities and all that stuff. But there's a school of thought that aliens are really demons. Some demons are aliens, some aliens are demons, all that stuff, and it's all portally dimensional type of stuff. But yeah, I know there's like a whole thing about like, oh, sleep paralysis is just this, and it could be like a lack of oxygen or whatever some people believe. I've had a couple of people, well, quite a few people come to me over the years that have sleep paralysis. And some people it was just like I don't know, like some sort of a physical reaction situation type deal moment. I'd say about maybe 2/3 of the people, it was an energy entity, low vibrational thing causing it. And there's a friend who recently told me they had a sleep paralysis episode, and I need to speak to them because yeah. We need to get some sage.
Vivid dreams.
Oh my God, that's going to be a
hallucinations
tick.
that probably seem as real as you and I sitting here talking to each other now.
Right.
So,
and this is an observable sleep paralysis is an observable, studyable phenomenon that occurs.
moving on to another theory. Let's not kid ourselves that there isn't a sexual element to this. And this takes us to difficult and controversial territory. But there's no denying, for example, that obviously when you look at the alien abduction narrative, a lot of it seems to involve being probed, having samples taken, whether it's sperm or ova. And again, there's no denying that some people do have, I guess you would call them
aliens. If you could bring back all of that sperm and ova, or wherever you're growing the little human babies, bring them back, because the way we're going, we're going to be extinct in like the next 2 or 3 generations, like 150 years. We're fucked.
Forced fantasies,
and not in a good way.
Fantasies in which they are held down, disempowered.
Yeah.
Could this be manifesting itself in some way? People who perhaps don't want to admit to those fantasies, but maybe if they dress it up as something else, all this has to go into the pot when we're casting the net and saying, what are we dealing with here? Right. Because in one sense, being taken by extraterrestrials should be our last theory. So always we have to ask ourselves here, are there conventional explanations? And some of them may be a little bit dark side.
Yeah, I guess the closest thing to physical evidence will be things like Terry's X-ray. But most of the objects that are like pulled from these people who claim they're not getting like matrix.
Morgellons. It's named after, there's this little town in France, I believe, and so many people there, and I think they believe it's got something to do with extraterrestrials, or I don't know, something. But Morgellons, and I think people all across the world have it now. It's where there's like these weird, like blue fibers that come out of their body. Yeah. See, that's like a good Wednesday topic. Nothing we need a couple of hours for, but something we could spend a little bit of time on a Wednesday. Oh, let me write that down.
Tricks robots out of their skin or anything like that. It's I haven't really seen or anything groundbreaking out of these implants or whatever.
Well, I've seen some of these implants. I've seen there are a couple of researchers who specialize in this aspect, and they say that this is the smoking gun. And my response is always, look, if it is the smoking gun, get someone to write it up in Science or Nature.
Most of the implants are etheric, not physical. Yeah. They're etheric. And a lot of us have very similar ones.
Get it peer-reviewed and published. And look, for anyone that says, well, the scientific community in on the conspiracy nonsense, someone would win a Nobel Prize off that.
They 100, yeah. If this thing that I pulled from my skin turned out to be not terrestrial, not human-made, containing materials not found on Earth, and this was analyzed and published in a scientific paper, yeah, then we can revisit this phenomena with actual like hard evidence and spin the heads of millions of people who thought this was all bunk. But until then, like we don't have anything besides some really awesome scary movies.
and then the leader, he goes over and he puts his hand, runs his hand in front of my eyes, and he says, I'll be all right, I won't feel it, and all the pain goes away.
To accept alien abduction as real is understandably hard to swallow, but our own history is full of hard to swallow truths. The government performing medical experiments on unsuspecting people, forced sterilizations, the MK Ultra program, mind control program.
That'd be another interesting Wednesday topic. And everybody wondered why I was like, you can take that jab and shove it up your ass. Syphilis.
So again, people had no idea that they were being used in this way for a CIA program. And Operation Paperclip, where Nazi scientists were granted immunity in the name of science. The list goes on. These are very dark truths that were kept from the public for decades. So if it's now being revealed that more
and everybody who talked about it or speculated or believed it was true was called crazy. And what? A conspiracy theorist. And who made up the term conspiracy theorist? Our dearest CIA. Yeah.
More UFOs are real, that the intelligence behind them might be non-human? Is it really a bridge too far to suggest that something that mirrors our dark history might in fact be happening today? That all those scary movies and TV shows might just be based on something that's really happening?
Why not? And yes, I know you see the Skinwalker Ranch thumbnail. That's already in a playlist for me to watch. This is like a pretty good little, I don't know, I'm liking this. What do you guys think? Let's take a little, I gotta stretch and move. So what do we think? Do we think Barney and Betty are, are they legit? Travis, all that fun stuff. Like, what are we thinking? What's the consensus? Sarah, Operation Paperclip is not that one. It's the other one, not the one about the obese, obnoxious Canadian woman who it was now 2 years she was in an abusive relationship with Ellen X. Oh my God, Chantel. Sundays are like my cathartic day because it's going to be when I just go in on the girls and all of the other, which Sunday I have the musical stylings of Belinda Feller and an impression from Sylvana G and Cortine. Bodega Love with her German accent. Zapitos. It's gonna be great. You're not gonna want to miss. My Sunday recaps are gonna be lit. And it might put a little bit of a target on my back, but I don't care. I don't care. I think once Adonis gets done with over there, he's it's gonna be great. Ooh, Monty B. Skinwalker Ranch has super weird energy. I live like 2.5 hours away from there, and the whole valley up there is just creepy. Monty B, I know exactly what you mean. I'm maybe like an hour away from a place called Pyramid Lake where I live in northern Nevada. I have been there 2 times in the like 25 years I've lived here because the energy out there is just it's like it'd be like if somebody put on like a E and it certain tones and whatever are doable. It's like somebody turned the frequency to one where I'm like like I can't handle it. And I know like the indigenous people used to like drown their babies in the lake. And I've seen some Google Earth views where it looks like there's some sort of a grid in the water. It's a lot of people drown out there. A lot of young, healthy people that are strong swimmers just go out. Yeah. Some of the bigger topics are definitely going to be like, again, we're starting on like demons, devils, offshoots of that, like, the Wednesday stream. And all of that can lead into like exorcisms and different things like, okay, is it possession or schizophrenia? And why in the Western world, when somebody's, is having a supposed schizophrenic episode, the voices are evil and they're demons and they're telling them to hurt themselves and other people. Yet you go to places in Africa, those same voices that people hear that are schizophrenic, they're family, they're loved ones that are sending them messages of love. So why the difference? Why? That fascinates the shit out of me. I have to find it again. There was like a study on it or so. I don't know. I have so much to find. Oh God, yeah. See, and what was it? It was Shady. Shady Lane was like, be careful covering some of the native folklore, because like if you talk about them or say their names, they'll like come to you. And I am in Washeshu, Shoshone, and Paiute territory where I live. So yeah. Oh yeah, definite difference of beliefs in that, cat. But it's just fascinating how like one area of the world it's like demons, go kill yourself, and then another area of the world it's like grandpa said, hey, what's up, you know, don't forget to help your mom fold the laundry, like Sarah K said. It's great. All right, let me look, and keep in mind the links for all the videos are in my description. This is the first link, because like I said, so how I'm gonna do it is like the video or videos I definitely want to watch are gonna be like first, second, third, how many ever. I don't always type out like, oh, it's this and that. I can try to do that if it's easier for you guys. I just throw them in there because, like, you know, you guys can click on them and whatnot. It is 8:35. We've been here an hour and a half. So I'm going to save this playlist. Because like the next video I have is the Rendlesham Forest UFO incident. And then things like John Lear, which I don't know how much I trust John Lear. Some more, like another episode of this where they're talking about the Tic Tac UFO and all that. So what? Here, let's watch this because this is from today. NASA, good old NASA. Cammy's favorite government agency, NASA, who's totally honest, right? Totally honest and transparent and great and whatever. Put out a thing today. And it's from CNN, which so NASA reveals unidentified objects in public meeting.
NASA task force is holding its first meeting on UFOs, public meeting, I should say. UFOs, or as the professionals call them, UAPs. That stands for Unidentified Anomalous Phenomena. A group of experts who spent 9 months studying the data on these UAPs, they are sharing their findings, including, I am told, brand new video. CNN's Tom Foreman has been watching all the dramatic twists and turns in this hearing. Tom, why don't you tell us what you've learned?
Can you imagine the excitement, John, when they showed this video? I want to show it to you now, where it was taken by one plane and they saw against the night sky those three little dots there. Look at them. They're moving in concert. The airplane that spotted them said, we don't know what that is. They tried to chase it down. They could not chase it down. And this was rolled out today. And now, spoiler alert, the NASA scientists studied this, and eventually they said, when you put all the evidence together, what this was three commercial aircraft in a typical flight corridor. The reason they couldn't chase them down is because they're much further away than they thought. And they were simply lit up that way. The movement that you see there, that's the plane taking the pictures over that distance. That's why it looks like they're moving back and forth. So their point is to say there's a lot of stuff out there which actually... can be explained if you can get enough information. They did say there are some typical reported characteristics of UAPs when you look at all of these out there. And this was sort of interesting. And this is reported. This is what people say they saw. They typically say they are round and small. They tend to be white, silver, or translucent. They tend to be somewhere between 10 and 30,000 feet in the air, either stationary or up to Mach 2 or twice the speed of sound, and no thermal exhaust. But here's the problem with all of that, John. The problem with that is largely anecdotal. That's just people saying that's what they saw, or it's being measured with all sorts of crazy different instruments out there. And here's what's important. There are a lot of these reports. Listen to what was said at this conference about the sheer volume of...
So let me explain something. One of the way my stuff works, right? Abilities, whatever you want to call it. I don't just like read the energy, which is, connecting with things and just sort of letting the feeling, and I just sort of like what I call open, and I'll get feelings, I'll get images. I get a lot of like, it'll be everything from like pop culture references shown to me in like a way that I understand what's trying to be conveyed. Sometimes I get words, and it's in the sense of, it's almost like, it used to be like I was sitting in a movie theater and it was dark and the screen was blank and white, and I would just see the words, like they'd be really small and blurry and they'd get closer and bigger. Now it's more like they'll just come at me, like as I've gotten more in tuned and connected and whatever. I'll hear them, not audibly, of course, but it's like that inner dialogue, but it's just things are coming in. I don't know exactly how to explain it. If you experience these things, this guy is giving me all the big D's, right? Distraction, deflection, disinformation. And it's got nothing to do with the fact that I think CNN is bullshit, because I think all mainstream media is bullshit. I think all government agencies are basically bullshit and liars. This guy's energy and what he's telling me right now, I feel like I keep seeing the word like disinformation. Not like seeing it like, this some bullshit. This some bullshit.
These reports that are coming in.
At the time of my open hearing, we were at 650 cases-ish. We roughly get, I mean, you can do the math, it depends anywhere from 50 to 100-ish new reports a month. Now, the reason we had such a big jump recently is because I got FAA's data integrated in finally, and so we ended up with like 100 and some odd new cases. The numbers I would say that we see are possibly really anomalous are less than single-digit percentages of those.
So, John, the real issue here that NASA is saying is what we really need is a plan going forward, a way to systematically take that tremendous amount of information, all those videos, all those reports, all those claims, and somehow subject them to the kind of scientific rigor that NASA is known for.
Oh, Hammy, I know you're laughing as hard as I am at that. The scientific rigor that NASA is known for. Sweetie, I hope you're not like eating or drinking anything, because I can't Heimlich maneuver you. I'm so sorry. Please don't choke. Wow. Actually fucking wow. The scientific, that's like saying the consistent physical rigor that Chantel was known for. Sir, wow. Here's the script and what you need to say, because we got everybody all worked up thinking we were going to confirm some shit. And instead we're sitting here being like, oh, it's just airplanes and and I get wanting to like confirm something is this, that, or the other thing, right? But I really feel like they've done a lot of soft disclosure when it comes to aliens and actual spacecrafts and whatnot. And then we get some bullshit like this. Why? Why? And this is from today, so it's May 31st. Happy birthday, Brandon J. I got Yaba to shout him out in her stream yesterday. It was great. Why? Why this? And why this today? My mind immediately goes to, what are they distracting from? What is going on that they're distracting from? What is this leading up to? this has given me like just you know how you feel a lot of things like in not necessarily in like your solar plexus. Like this is just I don't like this. I don't like this. I don't fucking like this. I don't like this. I don't like this.
And maybe a lot of this will become explained. But through all of this, again, nobody is yet saying at the government level that they think any of this is from outer space. Maybe advanced weapon systems, maybe new communications or travel systems. Some of it may just be mystery, but they don't think it's aliens.
It does sound like this hearing maybe had a little higher dose of skepticism.
And I'm sure a lot of shit that's seen in the dark that isn't, definitely identified and whatnot. Yeah. When we were told about the stealth bomber, which I thought was like the coolest thing ever, and I got to see it. There's like this big flying convention up in Oshkosh. I got to see that in person, and it was the coolest fucking thing. It made me want to be a pilot. But that didn't happen. Yeah, I'm sure some of it, I'm sure a lot of it is anything from small, twin engine aircraft up to commercial aircrafts, cargo planes, military, whatever shit we know about, shit we don't know about, shit we don't know other people have. But I don't know, like, why this is just really fucking weird to me. I don't like this. Dude's energy is just screaming. Like, I'm waiting for him to like V himself and like take a chunk of skin off of his neck and be like, surprise, I'm a lizard, beach.
Then some of the other speculation there. We had that wonderful chart up on the screen where you had the characteristics of these sightings. And the last one was no thermal exhaust. Well, I'm wondering then if these are all electric vehicles, right? I mean, like a Tesla has no tailpipe. Maybe the Martians are using EVs.
Well, maybe. You think they might be a little more advanced than us because after all, they made it here. We didn't make it there.
Range anxiety. You're right. If they were AVs, they won't be able to get this far because of the range issues.
Yeah, it's great. I will say, when you say skepticism, I don't even know if it's skepticism, John, as much as it is. These are scientists who are saying science can explain this stuff, but you can't explain it based on a shaky iPhone video that somebody took while camping. You need something more.
Listen, I don't fucking disagree with that. But also, again, because keep in mind, this is for the people that sit here and watch this shit. And they're just like, with a metaphorical spoon. Let me eat this. Nom, nom, nom. Sure, dude.
Involved. And that means coordination
Some pasty white dude telling me this shit. I don't like this man.
of actual scientific. Yeah. This is why Bigfoot is still missing.
But I don't understand, Tom Corbin. I'm jumping into this. I'm sorry,
Bigfoot.
gentlemen. I'm jumping into this. We're jumping into this. What do you mean we can't solve all the questions of the universe on my shaky cell phone video from camping, Tom?
Personally, I think what they're going to find out, I heard this somewhere, they're going to find out that Bigfoot, for example, is actually a blurry creature. That's why it always looks that way. I think we're going to find spaceships and they're all going to be very grainy.
Okay, I'm not saying that wasn't funny. Like, oh, Bigfoot, like he looks blurry. So breathe, hammy. I can breathe my hammy. My hamalicious hammy. Wow, you see what I mean about the propaganda and bullshit? Just the bullshit. Cha. Hey, NASA, I know somebody with an abnormally large head that's being held up with a fantastically small neck. Come study that shit for science. Cha. So how you guys doing? Did you have fun? Was this a good time? We're going to explore this more. What do you mean, a blurry creature? And I'll tell you this. Once we get into the missing 411 and Bigfoot and all that shit, even like a chupacabra, the chupacabra ate my homework. Yeah, portals. Be careful walking in the forest because you'll just walk straight into a portal and girl, bye. I had fun. I'm glad you guys had fun. Again, I want to keep the Sunday episodes, I I think 2 hours. 2 hours are good. 2 hours is good. And I'm gonna save this playlist. Again, all the videos though are in the description. You guys are welcome if you want to on your own time to go through and watch it, but we're gonna visit this playlist again because I do have some good ones in here. I'm really liking that the Basement Files, the New York Post. Like, I like that dude. He's well thought out, well spoken, concise. His energy's good. I like dude. Sarah, I remember hearing about that. Feel free to send me any links. You know how to get a hold of me. You know. I had a good goddamn time. I appreciate you guys not just showing up, but actively participating and discussing things with me. And I will be back here Friday night. It's gonna get serious. I'm keeping a Constantine Wick up there because we're gonna start in on the demons, not the ones on YouTube that we watch, that we hate watch. But yeah, all that stuff. I'm trying to sift through things and gather some info, and yeah, now we're really gonna start getting into the meat and potatoes of it. So yeah, keep your Wednesday and your Friday nights open. Please leave me a thumbs up, comment. It's a great way to help your girl out. My little channel's growing, you guys. We're up to like 258 subscribers or something. I'm so excited. I love Constantine. I really do. They're making a second one. I'm very excited. So share with all your friends. And again, I'll be here on Sundays definitely for my Gore World recap. Wednesday night, Friday night for all of this kind of fun stuff. And in between, I spend more time in other chats. You guys see me everywhere. Please remember to support other creators. Subscribe here, like, share, follow me on Twitter, all that fun stuff. Get the word out. It's a good time over here. I appreciate all of you so much. Hammy, Sarah K, Kelly Jean, Illyria, Cat, Share Bear, Shadow Hair, Creek Native Girl. Everybody watching on the replay, please leave a thumbs up and comment. It means so much to me. Much appreciated. I will see you guys back here Friday. I don't know, because I feel bad starting at 10 p.m. Eastern time. I might try to start like half an hour to an hour earlier. That's a hectic time in my house. We'll see. So I'm gonna go hop into Adonis Paul's stream here soon. And Sunday's show is gonna be really good. I've got the musical stylings of Belinda and an impression by Sylvana G in quarantine. You're gonna want to be here for the Sunday Gore World recap. So I will see you guys then. I love you guys. Thank you. I appreciate you guys so much. Okay, bye.